Hello, Sidduki, how are you? My mother's name was Mary, but at work a lot of people called her Haggis because she was a Scot. I should explain to any mystified international viewers that haggis is a much derided Scottish food, and so it was an affectionate nickname for her as a Scot to call her after that food. In fact, my mum lived more years in England than she did in Scotland, but it was Scotland that formed her, that made her who she was, and she never lost her accent and she never lost her sense of herself as a Scot. It's funny how context, situation, has such an effect on us. Nelson Mandela once said, "Where you stand depends on where you sit." In other words, the things that you think are important, speak up for, have a lot to do with your experiences. Now, I'm sure he wasn't saying that truth is negotiable and that it's all arbitrary. Quite the reverse. He gave his whole life for the struggle for human rights and had an unshakable belief in the equal worth of all human beings. Do you know, when he was first imprisoned, the rule was that all black prisoners had to be dressed like children. They were boys or girls, even though they were grown men or women. So he wore shorts for the first years in prison. A petty and belittling way of showing that he could never be equal to his white jailers. But I've no doubt that they saw in him a dignity and a worth that transcended everything that was done to him. And the man that emerged from prison, by then elderly, wasn't embittered and full of hate, as he easily could have been. He became a president who united South Africa and gave it the best start it could have, a reconciler, a Christian man of peace. But I like to think that the internationally famous figure, the revered figure, the president, was still the man who'd known what it was to be dressed in shorts. As Christians, we believe that Jesus Christ is Lord of the universe, risen, ascended, Lord of all. He's our King. He's our high priest. He has the true authority. And yet it fascinates me that he also, in that authority, still bears on his body the wounds of the crucifixion and still has within himself that humanity, that vulnerability of the incarnation. Now, I'm not saying that God was somehow changed by becoming human. That's blasphemy, really. But it seems to me that Jesus still chooses to keep that human accent, that human culture, that understanding of who we are. That although he is Lord of all, like Nelson Mandela, he has that gentleness of spirit, that understanding of our fragility. More than any human leader, even Mandela, he deserves our authority and our respect, almost because his triumph and victory doesn't leave us behind. These thoughts are prompted by this famous passage, so let me read it to you now. It's from the letter to the Hebrews, chapter 4. Since then we have a great high priest who has passed through the heavens, Jesus, the Son of God. Let us hold fast to our confession, for we do not have a high priest who is unable to sympathize with our weaknesses, but we have one who in every respect has been tested as we are, yet without sin. Let us, therefore, approach the throne of grace with boldness, so that we may receive mercy and find grace to help in time of need. When we approach that throne, when we respond to that invitation, yes, we will find a Lord, a King whose authority fills the universe. But we'll also find the Galilean, the one who sat where we sit, the one who understands and loves us. Amen.